The officer's voice booms across the quiet street. "Get out of the car, right now." The man inside answers calmly. "Sir, I have no intent to flee. I would like to remain in the vehicle." "This is a police vehicle. You are under arrest. Get out." Marcus Ellison steps out slowly, his hands raised, making no sudden moves. Officer Travis Mercer shoves him against the hood of the matte black Lamborghini Urus. "Let me see those hands, nice and easy, you got that." Marcus says nothing. The officer pulls his baton and swings it straight through the driver's side window. Glass explodes across the leather seats. A busted window for the busted story. What Officer Mercer does not know is that his world is about to fall apart in front of his entire department, and he has no idea it is coming. To understand what is about to hit this man, you need to know who Marcus Ellison really is. Or at least, the version of Marcus Ellison that everybody in this Virginia town knows. He is in his early 40s, tall and quiet. The kind of man who mows his own lawn on weekends and waves at every neighbor whether they wave back or not. He is married to Camille, a corporate attorney who works hard and provides well for their family. They have 2 children and a nice house on a tree-lined street where the mailboxes all match and the lawns are neatly kept. He owns 2 cars, a practical silver Explorer for the school runs, and that striking matte black Lamborghini Urus sitting in the driveway, paid for in full with cash. In a neighborhood like this, a car like that tends to make people ask questions without saying a word. What does Marcus do for a living? He tells everyone he works in government consulting. Every neighbor, every parent at school pickup, everyone who sees the car and cannot help but ask. Government consulting. It is the most ordinary answer imaginable, and that is exactly why he uses it. Nobody ever digs deeper into something so unremarkable. There is one small detail that might seem insignificant at first. Every morning Marcus straps on a heavy silver watch and adjusts it carefully, the face tilted slightly inward. Camille asked about it once. He told her a colleague gave it to him. That was not entirely a lie. Keep that watch in mind. This town in Virginia has just over 60,000 people, with nearly 4/5 of the residents being white. It is the kind of place where people say they do not see color, and then someone calls the police because a black family's cookout runs a little late. The police department has dozens of officers, only a small number of whom are black. In recent years, several excessive force complaints have been filed, all involving black drivers. All of them were investigated internally. All of them were cleared. The man with the baton is Officer Travis Mercer. He is in his mid-30s, born and raised right here, with a badge that has been in his family for years. His father served in the same department before him. Mercer is the kind of guy everyone likes in the locker room. Loud, funny, confident. On paper, he is a good cop, but if you look at his traffic stop numbers, a different picture starts to emerge. A large majority of his stops involve black or Latino drivers in a town that is overwhelmingly white. That kind of pattern does not happen by accident. Mercer does not think of himself as biased. He would swear to it and mean every word. But what we believe about ourselves and what the numbers reveal can be 2 very different things. His supervisor, Sergeant Raymond Pierce, is in his early 50s. A quiet man who signs off on Mercer's paperwork without much scrutiny. He has been doing it for years. Every report, every stop, approved and moved on. Then there is Officer Lena Brooks, young, only a few months on the job, still learning the ropes. She is riding with Mercer today. The only guidance she has ever received about working with him is simple. Back him up, keep quiet, and learn. She is about to learn something today, though not what anyone expected. It is a Saturday morning. Marcus kisses his daughter on the forehead, grabs his keys, and on a whim chooses the Lamborghini instead of the Explorer. Maybe he just wants to enjoy the drive. Maybe his child asked about the cool car. It does not matter. He pulls out of the driveway and turns onto the quiet street. His speed is right at the limit, windows up, music low. Just a man driving his own car through his own neighborhood. It does not take long before blue lights appear in his mirror. And right there on that peaceful suburban street, the worst day of Travis Mercer's life begins. He just does not know it yet. Marcus sees the lights. He does not speed up. He does not panic. He signals, pulls to the curb slowly, puts the car in park. Both hands rest on the steering wheel at 10 and 2. The window is already down. He has done this before. Not this exact situation, but this. The pullover, the wait, the quiet calculation of how to stay safe during a routine traffic stop. Every black man in America knows this choreography. You learn it the way you learn to tie your shoes. Getting it wrong can cost more than a loose lace. Mercer takes his time getting out of the cruiser. Brooks steps out on the passenger side, her hand resting near her belt. She stays near the back bumper. Her body camera is running. Mercer does not walk straight to the window. Instead, he does something that reveals everything about what is happening in his mind. He walks the full perimeter of the Lamborghini, slowly running his fingertips along the fender as if he is inspecting something at an auction, appraising property that has already been taken. He circles the entire car before he even looks at Marcus. When he finally reaches the window, he does not introduce himself. He does not say good morning. He does not state a reason for the stop. Nice ride. Registration and insurance. Now, Marcus stays calm, like a man ordering coffee at a counter. Good afternoon, officer. Can I ask why I was pulled over? Because I said so. Registration and insurance, now. I am reaching into my glove box for my documents. I did not ask you to narrate. Just move. Marcus moves slowly, hands visible the entire time. He pulls out his registration and insurance and holds them out. Mercer snatches them, scans the registration, reads the name, reads it again. Marcus Ellison. And this vehicle is registered to Marcus Ellison. He says it like the words do not belong together, like the name and the car exist in two different worlds and someone made a mistake in translation. Must be nice. What do you do, Marcus? Government consulting. Mercer snorts. Government consulting in a $200,000 truck. He shakes his head slowly. Right. He walks back to the cruiser with the documents. And now comes the wait. The long, deliberate, unnecessary wait. Marcus sits still. His hands do not move from the steering wheel. Most traffic stops in America are over in a matter of minutes. Marcus is well past that point, and Mercer has not returned. When Mercer finally comes back, something has changed. His stance is wider. His hand sits closer to his hip. His chin is lifted. Whatever he was doing in that cruiser, it was not paperwork. Mr. Ellison, step out of the vehicle. Officer, I have provided all my documents. They are clean. Can you tell me the reason I need to step out? I'm not going to ask you again. Marcus opens the door and steps out slowly, hands visible. He stands at his full height, wearing a navy polo, khakis, and clean sneakers. He looks like a man heading to brunch, not standing at a crime scene. Hands on the roof. Marcus places his palms flat on the roof of his own Lamborghini. The car he paid for. The car registered in his name. He presses his hands against it like a suspect while a cop who has found nothing wrong stands behind him with a hand near his weapon. Brooks watches from behind. She shifts her weight from one foot to the other. Her body camera catches her glancing at Mercer, then looking away quickly, as if she saw something she was not supposed to see. Mercer pats Marcus down, running his hands along his sides, his waist, his pockets. Nothing. No weapon. No contraband. Nothing but a wallet, a phone, and a set of keys with a standard-looking keychain fob attached. Mercer glances at the fob, turns it over once, and tosses the keys back onto the driver's seat. Remember that keychain fob. If you watch this moment again later, it will make your head spin. Mercer steps back, looks at the car, looks at Marcus, and here comes the line that tells you this was never really about a traffic stop. You got an attitude, you know that. Standing there looking at me like you are somebody. Marcus does not respond. He keeps his hands on the roof, his eyes forward. His breathing has not changed once since this began. Mercer walks around to the passenger side and points through the windshield at the passenger seat where a manila envelope sits on the leather. What is in the envelope? Personal documents. Open it. I do not consent to a search of my vehicle, officer. Mercer tries the passenger door. It is locked. Marcus had hit the auto lock when he stepped out. A small thing. An automatic thing. What happens next takes only a few seconds, but it is going to echo for a long time. Mercer pulls his baton, steps back, and swings it straight through the passenger side window. The glass does not just crack, it explodes inward. Fragments spray across the leather seat, the center console, the manila envelope, the floor mats. The sound is sharp and clean. Then silence. Marcus closes his eyes. 1 second, 2. When he opens them, his expression has not changed. Not one muscle. Brooks takes a step back. Her lips move, but no sound comes out. Her body camera captures everything. Mercer reaches through the broken window, grabs the envelope, holds it up like a trophy, then walks back around to Marcus and delivers the line you heard at the beginning. Get your dirty black hands off that steering wheel and get out. Marcus is already out. He has been out. Mercer's words do not even make tactical sense anymore. This is not policing. This is performance. This is a man who has already decided the ending and is just filling in the middle. Mercer radios in. Dispatch, I have got an uncooperative suspect. Possible stolen vehicle. Requesting backup at the intersection. Uncooperative. Marcus has complied with every single instruction. Possible stolen vehicle. The registration is in Marcus's name and came back clean earlier. But that is what goes out on the radio. That is what the backup units hear. 2 more cruisers show up quickly. Sergeant Raymond Pierce steps out of the first one. He looks at the scene. A black man in khakis standing with his hands up beside a smashed Lamborghini. 3 patrol cars. Broken glass on the pavement. Pierce looks at the broken window. Looks at Mercer. You got this handled. Yes, sir, just waiting on the VIN check. Pierce nods and gets back in his cruiser. That is it. That is the whole conversation. His officer just put a baton through a civilian's car window, and the only question the supervisor asks is whether the situation is handled. Not what happened. Not why there is broken glass everywhere. Not whether the man standing in his own neighborhood with his hands in the air is okay. Nothing. Meanwhile, the evidence is already stacking up. Body camera footage running on both Mercer and Brooks' cameras. The in-car cruiser camera recording audio. GPS data showing Marcus was pulled over a short distance from his own house. Dispatch logs showing 0 stolen vehicle reports for any Lamborghini in the entire area. There was no reason for this stop. No reason for the search. No reason for the broken window. The only reason any of this happened is standing right there in a uniform, holding a manila envelope that does not belong to him. And he still has no idea what is inside it. Imagine for a moment that it is you, your car, your street, and some person in a uniform smashes your window and says you do not belong. What do you even do with that? Because Marcus just stood there. And I do not think many of us could. Marcus is placed in the back of Mercer's cruiser, not arrested, not cuffed, just detained. The door locks from the outside, and that is that. He sits behind the cage partition with his hands in his lap, looking straight ahead, saying absolutely nothing. They keep him in that back seat for a while. A good stretch of time sitting in a police cruiser, a short distance from his own house, while his Lamborghini sits on the curb with a smashed window and glass all over the seats. Here is what is strange, though. Marcus does not call a lawyer, does not ask for a phone call, does not demand a badge number, does not raise his voice. Nothing. He just sits there like a man waiting for something he knows is coming. And if you are watching this thinking, why is he so calm? Hold that thought. You will get your answer, and it will flip everything you think you know about this man upside down. While Marcus sits in the back, something interesting is happening outside. Mercer and Pierce are standing between the two cruisers talking. They think they are having a private conversation. They are not, because the in-car camera in Mercer's cruiser is recording audio the entire time. Mercer speaks in a low voice. Guy has got a clean record. Registration checks out. Pierce answers. So what is the play? I write it up as reasonable suspicion. Tinted windows. Envelope in plain view. Pierce pauses. The window you broke was the passenger side. Right. Because I observed suspicious materials through the windshield. Exigent circumstances. Another pause. Longer this time. Then Pierce speaks quietly. Fine. Just make sure the report is clean. Just make sure the report is clean. Not what did you do. Not why did you break the window. Just make the paper look right. These two men are standing on an American street building, a false narrative in real time. And from the way they talk, this is not their first time. This is routine. This is just another day. After some time, Mercer opens the back door and tells Marcus he is free to go. No citation, no arrest, no charges, and definitely no apology. Mercer smirks. Have a good day, Mr. Ellison. Drive safe. Marcus steps out, walks to his Lamborghini without a word. Glass is still covering the passenger seat. He brushes a few pieces off the driver's side, sits down, starts the engine, and drives home at exactly the speed limit. He does not say a single word, not one. But the second he walks through his front door, something shifts. Camille sees his face from the kitchen. She does not ask what happened. She has seen that expression before. She just watches him walk past her toward his office. Marcus closes the door, picks up the phone. One call. It is done. Priority upload. Sanford, PD, Officer Travis Mercer. Badge number 142. Sergeant Raymond Pierce. Supervising. I have audio, visual, and a Fourth Amendment violation with property destruction. This one is clean. The voice on the other end. Copy. Files flagged. Are you good? I am good. My car is not. A pause. Then Marcus laughs. Not a happy laugh, not a relieved laugh. The kind of laugh that comes out when a man who has been building a case for months watches a small-town cop hand him the evidence gift wrapped. Now if you are paying attention, your brain is starting to rearrange some things right now. Priority upload, audio and visual. Badge numbers memorized and ready to go. This is not a man who just went through a traumatic experience and is calling a lawyer. This is something else entirely. But we are not there yet. Almost. The next morning, Marcus is in the driveway looking at the broken window. A neighbor walks over, a white man in his mid-50s, genuine concern on his face. Marcus, what happened? You all right? Had a run-in with local law enforcement. That is terrible. You should file a complaint. Marcus half smiles. Already taken care of. Already taken care of. The neighbor hears a civilian complaint. Maybe a phone call to the department. Maybe a letter to the city council. That is not what Marcus means. That is not what Marcus means at all. And then there is Pastor Elias Grant, in his late 50s, who runs Greater Hope Fellowship, the largest black church in town. For years this man has been collecting stories. Every traffic stop, every pat-down, every I got pulled over for nothing. He has it all in a binder. A physical 3-ring binder with tabs and dates and witness names and badge numbers. He has filed formal complaints with the police department multiple times. Every time the department investigated itself. Every time the department found nothing wrong. Pastor Grant does not know Marcus Ellison is anything more than a neighbor who goes to church sometimes. But Marcus knows about Grant. Marcus has read every single page in that binder. And very soon, that binder is going to matter more than Pastor Grant ever imagined. A few days later, during a morning briefing at the police department. The room smells like bad coffee and floor wax. Mercer is near the front, leaning back, telling some story. Pierce is in the corner, sipping from a styrofoam cup. Brooks is in the back row, quiet. She has not slept well in days. Every time she closes her eyes, she hears glass breaking. Shift assignments, patrol zones, reminder about the department cookout. Normal, boring morning briefing. Then, the door opens. 3 people walk in like they own the building. 2 men in dark suits. 1 woman in a gray blazer, credentials on her belt. The kind of face that does not smile because smiling is not in the job description. The room goes quiet. Not gradually. Instantly. Captain Victor Lang stands up. He was not expecting visitors. His face says that loud and clear. "Captain Lang, I am Deputy Director Simone Hart with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Civil Rights Division. The FBI does not show up at local departments for parking tickets. The Civil Rights Division does not show up at all unless something has gone very wrong. We are here pursuant to a federal investigation into systemic civil rights violations by officers of the Sanford Police Department. I have a warrant authorizing seizure of body cam footage, personnel files, internal affairs records, and dispatch logs dating back several years." She places the warrant on the table. The paper barely makes a sound, but it hits that room like a bomb. Nobody moves. Mercer's story is gone. His mouth is open. His hands are flat on his thighs. Hart is not done. This investigation was initiated based on evidence gathered by a special agent embedded within this community for months. Embedded. For months. Someone has been here among them, watching, listening, recording. Mercer's face has not changed yet. He is still thinking this is about someone else, not him. Hart takes one breath. The agent in question is Special Agent Marcus Ellison. The room collapses. Mercer's face goes white. The blood leaves his cheeks like someone opened a drain. His coffee cup rattles on the table. His hand is shaking, and then his knees buckle. Not a metaphor. His actual knees give out, and he catches himself on the edge of that table, because the man he treated with such contempt, the man whose window he smashed, the man he told to get his dirty black hands off the steering wheel. That man is a federal agent who has been investigating him for months. Pierce stands up, sits down, stands up again, looks like a man trying to leave his own body. Brooks closes her eyes. A single tear rolls down her cheek, but her shoulders drop. She is not crying because she is scared. She is crying because someone finally showed up. Hart pulls out a tablet and taps the screen. Marcus's voice fills the room. "I do not consent to a search of my vehicle, officer." Then the sound of glass breaking. The footage is from Marcus's watch, that heavy silver watch he adjusts every morning. The gift from a colleague. It is an FBI covert recording device. Dozens of minutes of continuous audio and video. Every word Mercer said, every swing of the baton, every shard of glass, every syllable, all of it. Federal evidence, authenticated, logged. Go back to the beginning of this story, the part where Marcus straps on that watch. He was not fidgeting. He was activating a recording device. And Mercer just gave him the grand finale. Hart taps again. Footage stops. Additionally, the documents Officer Mercer seized from the vehicle were classified FBI case materials related to this investigation. The unauthorized seizure constitutes a separate federal offense. The manila envelope, the thing Mercer reached through a broken window to grab. The suspicious materials. Those were FBI case files about him, about his department. He broke a window to steal the evidence against himself. Mercer tries to speak. His voice cracks. I did not know he was. Hart does not blink. Whether you knew his identity is irrelevant, officer. The law applies regardless of who the victim is. That line. That is the whole story right there. The law does not require the victim to carry a badge, does not require him to be recording, does not care if the man in the Lamborghini is a federal agent or a plumber or a pastor or a kid driving his mom's car. You cannot do what Mercer did to anyone. Marcus just happened to be the one who could prove it. Brooke stands up, walks toward one of the agents, her voice shaking but her feet steady. I have something I need to report about, that's stopping about others. She is terrified, but she is standing, and in a room full of men who spent years looking the other way. The youngest badge is the first one to open her mouth. Here is where the story stops being about one traffic stop and starts being about an entire department. The FBI Civil Rights Division is not investigating what happened to Marcus Ellison on that quiet street. I mean, they are, but that is not the whole picture. What they are investigating is a pattern and practice of discriminatory policing at the Sanford Police Department. That is the legal term, pattern or practice. It falls under federal law, and if you have heard of certain other cities, you have heard of this law. It is the same tool the Department of Justice has used to examine departments across the country. Marcus's stop was not the thing that started the investigation. It was the thing that finished it. The final piece, the last brick in a wall that has been going up for months. Marcus endured that humiliation on purpose, strategically, not because he had to, but because he knew exactly what Mercer would do if given the opportunity, and Mercer delivered. Now the real work begins. FBI analysts pull years of body cam footage from the department's servers. Every traffic stop, every interaction, every foot of digital tape, and they start flagging. Dozens of incidents involving Officer Mercer alone, all involving Black or Latino drivers. And the patterns are so consistent it is almost like Mercer was following a manual. Stops with no stated reason. Mercer pulls over a black man in a Honda Accord and writes taillight malfunction on the report. The body cam footage shows both taillights working perfectly. Prolonged detentions. Average stop time for black drivers with Mercer is much longer than for white drivers in identical situations. Same cop, same streets, same laws. Aggressive language from the first word. No greeting, no identification, just commands and searches without consent or probable cause. Over and over and over. In one stop, Mercer pulls over a 22-year-old black college student driving a BMW. The young man is wearing a university sweatshirt. His registration is clean. His license is spotless. Mercer's first words to him are, "Let me guess, your parents co-signed." The young man is a pre-med honors graduate. The car was a graduation gift from his grandmother. He sat on the side of the road for a long time. No citation was issued. That young man never filed a complaint. Most of them do not. And that is the part that makes this whole thing so much worse. For every person who walked into the police department and filled out a form, there are many more who just drove home and tried to forget about it. Who told themselves it was not worth the trouble. Who knew that complaining to the department about the department was like asking the fox to investigate the hen house. But the FBI is not the fox, and they are not asking. Now Sergeant Raymond Pierce, the quiet one, the paper signer. Here is what the investigation finds about him. Every single one of Mercer's incident reports for years passed through Pierce's desk. Every one was approved. Not one was questioned. Not one was sent back. Not one was flagged for review. And here is the part that turns Pierce from a lazy supervisor into something worse. Several civilian complaints were filed against Mercer in recent times. All of them came from members of Pastor Grant's congregation. All of them landed on Pierce's desk for internal review. Pierce's process for reviewing those complaints was as follows. He read Mercer's version. He checked the report. He signed the clearance form. Done. He never watched the body cam footage. Not once. Several complaints. Several opportunities to pull the tape and see what actually happened. Several times he chose not to look, because looking might mean finding something, and finding something might mean doing something, and doing something is not Raymond Pierce's style. When the FBI asks Pierce about this in his initial interview, his answer is beautiful in its emptiness. I trusted my officer's judgment. I had no reason to doubt his reports. No reason to doubt, except the body cam footage that contradicts every single one of those reports. Footage that was sitting on the department's server the entire time. Footage that Pierce had full access to and never once opened. That is not trust. That is architecture. That is a system designed so that the person checking the work is the same person who benefits from not finding anything wrong. Now, Officer Lena Brooks. This is where the story gets complicated in the best way. Brooks sits down with FBI investigators and gives a full statement. She is nervous. Her hands are shaking, but she talks. And once she starts, she doesn't stop. She tells them about the culture. How from her first day she was told that questioning a senior officer's stop was disloyal. Not against the rules. Disloyal. Like it was personal. Like the badge was a family and snitching on family was the worst thing you could do. She tells them what Mercer said in the cruiser before the stop. Before the lights went on. Before any of it. He saw the Lamborghini, pointed at it, and said 2 words. Drug dealer. That was it. Drug dealer. He did not run the plates first. Did not check the registration. Did not have a reason. He saw a black man in an expensive car, and that was enough. She tells them about Pierce's instruction on her first week. If Mercer makes a stop, you back him up. Do not ask questions. Not training, not guidance, an order. Keep quiet and learn. And then she gives them the text messages. Brooks has screenshots from a group chat between Mercer and several other officers. She does not read the messages out loud. She hands them over on her phone and looks at the floor while the agents scroll through. The narrator does not repeat what those messages say either, but the FBI catalogs every word, every slur, every joke, every casual, comfortable, unashamed line that these men type to each other while wearing badges paid for by the people they were mocking. Brooks is not a hero in this story. She knows that. She stood on that street and watched Mercer smash that window. And she didn't say a word. She heard him call Marcus names, and she did not step forward. She failed in the moment, and she will carry that. But a few days later, she walked into a room full of federal agents and opened her mouth. And that matters. Not enough to erase what she did not do, but enough to change what happens next. Pastor Elias Grant. Years of binders. Years of being ignored. FBI agents show up at Greater Hope Fellowship on a weekday afternoon. Grant meets them in his office. He is suspicious, arms crossed. He has been through this before. Every time I hand over my records, nothing happens. Why should I believe this time is different? The agent across from him speaks steadily. Because this time, we are not asking your department to investigate itself. Grant looks at the agent for a long time. Then he stands up, walks to a filing cabinet, and pulls out his binder. Years of work. Every incident is documented. Names, dates, badge numbers, witness contacts, cross-referenced and tabbed. He has been doing the FBI's job for years with a 3-ring binder and a church copier, and now, finally, someone is listening. Now the confrontation, Mercer's formal interview with FBI civil rights investigators. He has a lawyer next to him, not the police union attorney, because the union has already backed away. A private lawyer paid out of pocket. That tells you everything about where Mercer stands right now. Alone. The investigator starts calm, professional, almost friendly. Officer Mercer, what was your stated basis for the traffic stop of Mr. Ellison? I observed the vehicle traveling in a manner that suggested the driver might be unfamiliar with the area. Mr. Ellison has lived at his registered address in your patrol zone for months. I was not aware of that. You ran his registration. His address appeared on the document you were holding in your hand. Mercer's lawyer. My client has answered the question. Officer Mercer, why did you break the passenger side window of Mr. Ellison's vehicle? I observed suspicious materials on the passenger seat and believed exigent circumstances justified it. The materials were a sealed manila envelope. In your report, you described them as a large package consistent with narcotics packaging. Is that accurate? Mercer does not answer. Those materials were classified FBI case documents, officer. You seized federal evidence during an unlawful search. Mercer's lawyer asks for a break. The investigator does not raise his voice once, does not need to. The facts are doing all the work. Every answer Mercer gives runs into a wall of body cam footage and timestamps and documents that say the opposite. The investigation does not stop at Mercer. It goes up. Captain Victor Lang, head of Internal Affairs, is next. His defense is the same empty suit Pierce wore. We followed departmental procedure, and that is technically true. They did follow procedure. The problem is the procedure itself. Departmental procedure at the police department wrote, complaints to the accused officer's direct supervisor for review, which means Pierce reviewed complaints about Mercer, and Lang signed off on Pierce's reviews. Nobody independent ever touched those files. The process was designed to clear, not to investigate. It was not a broken system. The system was working exactly as designed, to protect its own. One more beat. A quiet one. Marcus at home. Evening. His daughter is doing homework at the kitchen table. She looks up. "Daddy, when is the car window getting fixed?" "Soon, baby." "What happened to it?" "An accident." Camille is standing in the doorway. She does not correct him. She just watches. She has been a federal agent's wife long enough to know which silence to leave alone. Later, after the kids are in bed, Marcus and Camille on the couch. He is staring at nothing. "I have done undercover work in places that would give you nightmares, but nothing hits like being treated as a suspect in your own neighborhood, in front of your own house." Camille puts her hand on his. She does not say anything. She does not need to, because this is the part people forget. Marcus Ellison is a federal special agent. He has training and clearance and a recording device on his wrist. But underneath all of that, he is also just a black man living in America, and the badge does not make the sting go away. It just means you have somewhere to put it. In the weeks that follow, the FBI Civil Rights Division finishes what Pastor Elias Grant spent years begging someone to start. The findings land like a freight train. Officer Travis Mercer is charged with deprivation of civil rights under color of law, unlawful search and seizure, destruction of property, filing a false police report, and one charge that nobody saw coming, unauthorized seizure of classified federal materials. That last one is the envelope. The envelope he smashed a window to grab. The envelope that contained the case files about him. Every charge is federal. Every charge carries prison time. Sergeant Raymond Pierce is charged with conspiracy to deprive civil rights for knowingly approving false reports and obstruction of justice for burying civilian complaints without reviewing available evidence. 2 charges, both federal. Captain Victor Lang is not criminally charged, but removed from command of internal affairs, effective immediately. Referred for administrative action for failure of supervisory oversight. His career in law enforcement is functionally over. He just does not have handcuffs to show for it. Mercer's termination hearing is short. He walks in wearing a suit instead of a uniform for the first time in years. His badge and service weapon are collected at the door. He signs the paperwork. Nobody shakes his hand. He walks out carrying a cardboard box. His father's name is on the department's wall of honor. Travis Mercer's name will not be joining it. His criminal trial is set for federal court, not state court, not the local county, federal, where the judges do not golf with the police chief, and the jury pool is not pulled from the same small group of people who wave at Mercer in the grocery store. Pierce does not make it to a hearing. He resigns before termination proceedings begin. Quietly. No press conference, no statement. He takes a plea deal on the conspiracy charge, reduced sentence in exchange for full cooperation. He provides testimony about departmental practices going back years. Every shortcut, every buried complaint, every report he signed without reading. Raymond Pierce spent years making sure the paperwork looked clean. In the end, it was his own paperwork that buried him. And then comes the part that matters more than any individual punishment. The city enters into a federal consent decree, a binding legal agreement that says you will fix this or we will fix it for you. The terms are specific. Independent oversight of all internal affairs investigations. No more department investigating itself. Mandatory bias training with annual recertification for every officer. Body cam footage review by an external civilian board. Civilians from the community with the authority to watch the tapes and ask hard questions. And a completely rebuilt complaint process that routes directly to an independent office, bypassing the chain of command entirely. A city council member issues a public statement. This is not the legacy we wanted, but it is the correction we needed. Officer Lena Brooks is not charged. Her cooperation is documented in the federal report. She does not celebrate. She transfers to a new unit created under the consent decree. Community liaison, a job that did not exist at the department just weeks earlier. Brooks did not speak up fast enough. She would be the first to tell you that. But when the moment came to choose between silence and truth, she chose truth, and that choice cracked the whole thing open. And Marcus Ellison. After weeks of depositions and evidence reviews and classified briefings, Marcus receives a commendation from the FBI Civil Rights Division. The ceremony is private. No cameras, no press, just a handshake and a piece of paper that says what he did mattered. After the ceremony, Marcus drives home in his new Lamborghini Urus. Same color, same spec, matte black, paid in cash again. He pulls into the driveway on that quiet street. His daughter comes running out the front door. He picks her up. She wraps her arms around his neck and he holds her there for a long time. The neighbor waves from across the street. Marcus waves back. Same man, same street, same car, but the world around him is a little different now. Not fixed, not perfect, but different. And sometimes different is where it starts. Now here is what stays with me about this story. In recent years, the Department of Justice has opened pattern or practice investigations into more than 20 police departments across the United States. And in nearly every single one, the findings were the same. Problems with oversight. A culture that punished the people who spoke up more than it punished the people who did wrong. Marcus Ellison was able to hold Travis Mercer accountable because he happened to be carrying a federal badge and a recording device disguised as a wristwatch. He had the training, he had the backup, he had an entire federal division ready to move when the moment came. But what about the man who does not have any of that? What about the college student in the BMW who sat on the side of the road for a long time because an officer decided a young black man could not possibly own a nice car? That young man went home, did not file a complaint, did not tell anyone, just swallowed it and moved on. What about Pastor Elias Grant? Years of documenting every incident, years of filing complaints, years of being told nothing is wrong when everything is wrong. He did not have a badge. He had a binder and a copier and the stubborn refusal to stop. What about every person who got pulled over, patted down, talked to like they were less than human, and then drove home and sat in their driveway for a while, trying to feel normal again? No body cam, no recording device, no federal backup, just their word. And too often their word was not enough. The law that Travis Mercer violated does not say the victim has to be a federal agent. It does not say the victim needs a hidden camera. It says you cannot do what he did to anyone. Period. The badge means you protect people. All people, not just the ones who look like you or drive the cars you think they should drive. Pastor Elias Grant sits on the Civilian Oversight Board now. At the first meeting, he opens that binder one last time, reads a single name out loud. The first person who filed a complaint years ago, the one that got dismissed quickly. This is who we are here for. Every name in this binder, every person who was told nothing was wrong when something was wrong. And now we are going to fix it. I want to hear from you. Have you ever been judged before someone even knew your name? Have you ever had someone look at you and decide who you are before you opened your mouth? Drop your story in the comments because every story matters. This story reminds us of something important. Every single person we encounter carries a life we cannot see at a glance. When we choose to treat others with dignity instead of suspicion, we honor the shared humanity that connects us all. It takes courage to stand up when it would be easier to stay silent. It takes integrity to admit when something is wrong, even if it means facing uncomfortable truths about ourselves or the systems we are part of. And it takes hope to believe that change is possible, even when the road to it is long and difficult. Marcus Ellison did not have to endure what he did, but he did it so that others might not have to. Lena Brooks found her voice when it mattered most. Pastor Elias Grant never gave up on the people he served. And because of their choices, a community has a chance to do better. We all have moments where we can choose to see the person in front of us, or to see only what we expect to see. The consequences of those choices ripple outward in ways we may never fully know. May we all have the wisdom to choose kindness, the strength to choose truth, and the grace to build something better together.